why. Why do people hate this guy so much? In a world where the amount of hateable celebrities is at an all-time high, even celebrities involved with legitimate immoral acts are simply overlooked, as long as that's the mainstream narrative. It's so strange, yet, the hive mind online seems to really vary these days when you think about it, where even if most people do agree, they'll find a reason to disagree. Welcome to the internet. But one thing these trolls, or wolfpackers, or campers, or TikTok wannabes, or other assorted wussies agree on, they simply dislike Corey Feldman and anything to do with the guy in general. Yeah, singling out a guy with a troubled childhood, that's the way to do it. A guy who survived the vortex of teen stardom and defeated horrific addictions, only to go on a crusade against child abuse in Hollywood. We gotta remember, he was really the first guy to be doing that back when, and even up until most recently. He was the guy that was getting the word out there. But this is the guy. This is the guy that they decided they don't like because of a single Today Show performance that they saw as subpar, or judging a guy from a video of him being completely blindsided by Howard Stern, or I don't know, judging him by a scripted reality show that was obviously played for laughs, or from clips from over a decade ago, or supposed testimony from ex-band members. Give me a fucking break. And let's be honest, people really have a problem with him being influenced by Michael Jackson, a guy who was indeed a close personal friend of Corey. Yes, obviously he's influenced by Michael. If that wasn't clear, it was the 80s, what can I say? But he actually knew the guy personally. Deal with it. And there's even an homage here and there, I admit it, he's obviously influenced by the guy, but when people, normies if you will, see one of Corey's many original dance moves, they see nothing more than a stolen Michael Jackson classic. For what it's worth, take the time to look at it. These aren't Michael Jackson moves. Seriously. Some of them can be considered as such, I suppose, but for the most part, things like kicks and shuffles and whatnot, they're just part of the dance and not directly a Michael Jackson copywritten move. So who cares if Corey is influenced by Michael Jackson? People are influenced by all kinds of things. In fact, the footage we've been watching isn't even Michael Jackson, it's Bob Fosse. Where a case can be made that old Bob here, now there's a guy who got his style, moves, and overall swagger straight up lifted by none other than Michael Jackson himself. Yet he admitted it. Influence, people. It's fantastic. Not that these bozo deluxes care, but I get why it's lost on people that Corey has been making music since the 80s. A lot of people just don't know that. It's always largely been something directly for his fans, obviously, but till this day, clips with Corey and the Angels are still going around. Thanks to the internet, these supposed haters, they think that this shit is still relevant, the whole Angel era, and they never got the idea of a concept album. I guess that was the album that was Angelic to the Core. And while I don't like all the tracks on the album, and I agree there are some bizarre takes on it, there's also some pretty solid tunes here. Stuff you can throw on in the middle of the club and nobody would bat an eye, which is about the only positive thing I can say about half of today's top 40 hits anyways. Just saying. But, that is not all the music the guy made. Look as far as his work with the Truth Movement, where, both the albums and the live performances, well, they were sonic, experimental soundscapes, heavily influenced by Pink Floyd and the Beatles. Listen to some of this stuff. And going further, look at Corey's early 80s music, what I call 80s street pop. Listen to this shit and tell me it is not funky as hell. His track Something in Your Eyes, it sounds like it came out yesterday. Sounds like a big hit from The Weeknd or something. Maybe he should do a cover. That would be the shit.
I know you made the change. You're not the same to me.
Corey even dabbled in some New Jack Swing with the track Honesty. And another very relevant sounding tune is the recently rediscovered track Love's Safe Getaway from the film Last Resort.
We're gonna run to a love safe getaway, a big green field where emotions never play.
I've always felt Former Child Actor is an underrated album, if you ask me, and would seem to mark the more self-produced sound we would see as of late. But here, man, we get some passion from the dude, who at the time was dealing with so much pain. Plus, there's a cover of Jingle Bell Rock. But the first album, Love Left, may be his crown jewel when it comes to, a group of tracks explaining someone's psyche and life, in general, all into an audio masterpiece. If we're being real, though, I urge you to go out and buy Corey's box set, where you can see the documentary that I edited, Jake Perry's Corey Feldman, artist, the man behind the love, to learn all about Love Left and beyond. For all the fans watching, I know I get a lot of love for Corey here, and I hope a lot of those haters are. I'll see you down in the comments. I'll see you there. Even with the Angels era, though, the crossovers and experimental sounds, and they went to the extreme. And Feldman produced some pretty cool dubstep influenced, dance-oriented stuff, defining yet another era in the man's career. Corey has gotten support from countless other celebrities, people like Dave Grohl, Jordan Peele, Violent J, Justin Bieber, Katy Perry, Mike Patton, Fred Durst, and that's just naming a few. Hell, recently there was even a Limp Bizkit Corey Feldman tour announced. Some people just get it. Are you not entertained? And he started all this essentially as a love for the art form and equal parts coping mechanism for a troubled youth. And he did it all while starring in some of the biggest films of all time, I may add. Personally, I love all the schlocky stuff from the dude, like his late 90s stuff or whatever, but let's take a brief look at the guy's career of genre-defying ageless classics. Stand By Me, The Lost Boys, The Burbs, Dream a Little Dream, and Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. I mean, he's part of multiple franchises on top of that, like Tales from the Crypt, The Toxic Avenger, The Puppet Master, The Crow. He appeared in 2 National Lampoon movies, and while he seems to be partially retired from acting, his recent exposure of his opus The Birthday by Jordan Peele, who was championing the film and his career overall, he gave Feldman a big push there, big boost as far as being able to maybe jump back in the ring of film. I hope that Jordan Peele puts Corey Feldman in his next movie, put it that way. Talk about one hell of a career. So to have all of these kind of credentials and choose to spend time touring with original music, with nostalgia-based movie theme segments in there again, all specifically for his fans. Well, I mean, what other former child actor is doing this? None. That's who. Just one. I've covered other teen stars that have made music before, people like Alyssa Milano, Edward Furlong, and even Corey Haim. While the Hamster had an interest in music from a very early age as well, his only releases were basically a paid gig, and it didn't really end up well legally. But the tracks are decent. But Feldman was doing it on his own because he loved doing it. If other child actors took this route more often, I'd probably be a fan as well. I mean, River Phoenix had a band, Alakazatic. Brian Bonsall, the kid from Blank Check, and Mikey, well, he's been touring with the Ataris. I mean, if Jonathan Brandis survived and was in a fucking flute band or something, I'd probably be listening. I've been to multiple shows, and the love Corey gets is more immense every time. Hearing his name chanted and the venue's full, being able to walk around knowing I'm amongst other fans as well, it's pretty sweet. If you don't dig whatever of the 2 songs, that people seem to recognize from the guy, just look a little deeper. Or better yet, go to one of his shows. It's a blast, I'm telling you. Fuck what the internet says. I have seen sold-out venues chant the guy's name multiple times. But being in a band, shit fucking happens. I mean, it's like people don't get that when you're in a band and you're on tour, you're gonna have some bad shows. It's gonna happen. As someone who's been in multiple bands in the past and have been on multiple tours, I can guarantee you that. So if something doesn't work out, why lampoon the guy online immediately? Why go straight to that unless you're a fucking asshole? People look at Riot Fest as a total success, honestly, and since then multiple A-listers voiced their support. Hell, Feldog is on a Limp Bizkit tour now. Come on, how awesome. I'm sure that the Riot Fest appearance did not hurt his odds at all, as far as exposure and getting out there. The guy gets support from everywhere. It's insane. But still, people zero out the minute or so of technical difficulties at the start of this set. I mean, I guess not knowing it was literally the drummer's first show with the guys, as well as the keyboardist was one of her first shows with them. That band members left, Corey went through a breakup, and he decided to power on and go on tour anyways. And that was one of their first big shows on the tour. And here they are to kick ass regardless of any flubs or anything that happened early on. Because shit happened. Those technical difficulties, whatever. I mean, how does a venue in Tempe, Arizona have a better sound and stage setup than Riot Fest? I'll tell you why, because shit fucking happens, period. And while, yeah, I'm fascinated by the child actor phenomenon in general, that's true. But with the two Coreys, it was always different. It's movies like Lucas and Stand By Me that were there for me when I was a confused and lonely kid. When my parents were divorcing, they were gateways for much more dramatic fare down the line. They helped me understand a lot more dramatic movies later. But when I was falling in love with film, along with a lot of other actors, these guys were there. I remember the day Corey Haim passed. It was a sad day, and it's something I took very personal. I remember it like it was yesterday, man. And these guys were and are among my favorite actors. And while film, movies, actors, acting, while it may not mean a lot to everybody, it means a hell of a lot to me. Everyone I do meet, though, who gets it, are some of the best people I've ever encountered. Just to name a few, we got people like Jake Perry, Stephen Monkey Mason at Lonely Tree Entertainment, our friends at Born to Be Rad, and how can we forget Mike at Sega CD Universe, plus many others. I mean, more and more people out there, at the very least, are being honest about his music and film takes these days. And they're leaving their hater shades at home for the most part. But hey, I guess so are the haters. The amount of channels dedicated to hating on the guy is insane. There's a video hating on Corey is a cheap way to get a decent amount of views, I guess. And nearly every week, someone's clowning on a video that's like a decade old or something. They just keep coming. Whether it's an expose where a literal scripted reality show played for laughs is treated like the first 48 or something, and a cheap attempt to gain views on a previous Corey-themed video, well... And did you know that Jackass singer to that band, The Darkness, he dedicates large chunks of his one-hit wonder status to hating on Corey Feldman. What a dork. For each and every one of these haters online individually, I really only have one question.
Is it me, or are you the world's biggest pussy?
Hey, to each their own, right? I mean, opinions. Hell, I hate on new metal bands on the channel all the time, and I get shit for it. Who cares, I guess? I grew up loving the guys' movies, the popular ones, the low-budget affairs, like whatever. I love strange bands and offbeat entertainment every day of my life, so I'm not going to pretend like I don't when it comes to one of my favorite actors doing it. I'll take Feldman's music over any other A-listers' tunes. Billy Bob, Michael Shannon, Kiefer, whoever. The man is pure entertainment. He has everybody's support from Katy Perry to Insane Clown Posse, and a huge year coming in 2024. I think the dude will be fine, as will his legion of fans. Thanks for joining me, Staunch Gang. It is a very Corey Christmas. We are coming to an end. Stay tuned. Follow me on Instagram. Be sure to like this video. Haters, I'll see you down in the comments. Hit that notification bell. Make sure you're notified. Join all the strange fun. Only on Staunch TV.